wanted to before before the video plays, I wanted to come here and like, sorry for not uploading. I will upload. I will upload. I have a lot of things planned. This is not going to be like my normal type of content. I decided I should start a video diary thing I'm going to be doing whenever I feel like it, where I'm just going to be talking about topics that I feel like I should be talking about, because I feel like it's therapeutic and I feel like this is a good medium for me to express myself, and it's my channel, and if you don't like it, just don't watch it. Yeah, it's gonna be like sort of like just me talking, like sort of like a podcast. There's not gonna be much going on screen, and I will be resuming my normal upload. Just 2024 was a very rough year for me, and right now I'm on finals, so I can't really spend time on recording and editing properly. So I'm just going to be doing this like low effort content right now, just to upload something so you guys know that I'm alive. And I mean, hopefully some of you guys enjoy this. And yeah. Hello, friends. I hope this sounds correctly. Because I recorded this video already and it, for some reason, the audio fucking hates me, and my computer picked up the audio from the internal microphone instead of the microphone that I have connected, so it sounds like and you can't understand. So I have an hour-long video of me talking and crying. I wanted to record this as some like different type of content as I usually post. Different type. It's a little bit more intimate. It's like sort of like a diary vlog thing. You can feel free to not watch this. I'm going to rant about things that I feel very passionate about and that are laying heavy in my mind right now. So the first time I recorded this, I started crying when I started talking about art, because I'm very passionate about it, and I can't promise that I will not cry again. But also, the first time that I recorded this, I tried to like. It was a continuous flow of thoughts, so I'm going to try to keep it more centered towards the topic, and I'm going to be talking about art right now. I wanted to, art and the crisis in which we are right now, where there is an intense lack of wanting to understand art and taking the time for it, and it's driving me crazy. Because, I mean, I fucking adore art, obviously. I love it. And this thought of like this intense lack of media literacy we're experiencing nowadays in our generation is so shocking to me. And it was brought up by TikTok. Like, I was scrolling to TikTok and I started seeing how Penelope Scott's Rat song became popular again, and how people are shocked that it's about Elon Musk, even though it's so explicitly obvious in the song. And it started to spiral a thought in me, because I was like, damn, something this obvious is so hard for you guys to understand. Like, no wonder there's no media literacy nowadays, because you guys are not listening. People are not listening, and that's what it boils down to. Because I'm not asking you guys to reach like Catcher in the Rye or stuff like that. Your teacher should be doing that, because that's also another factor. People are the educational system is flawed, to say the least, and it often has a preference to any other like topic that is not art, because for some reason art is not seen as something as important as, let's say, like math or something, which I cannot disagree more. Art is I'm gonna start crying again. Art is very, very important to human history. Art history is human history. Art is inherently human. There's nothing in this world that is more characteristic and more human than art. It's our purest form of expression. It's the way that we try to reach other people and try to convey our feelings and try to reach other people's feelings. It's it's so important. It's so important. It's so beautiful and it's so human. And it kills me seeing that even the most basic, like not basic, but like the most close to us, like the most uh, present in our day to day life form of art, which is music, and so many people consume it, and still, even then, they're still not trying to understand it. They're still not reading the lyrics. They're still not trying to understand what the song is about. And it's so shocking to me because I also saw it with Ethel Cain, who I adore. I adore Ethel Cain. I've loved her since 2022, I think, when she released Preacher's Daughter. And I started seeing on TikTok how, then again, all of this is based on what I've seen on TikTok, which is a dangerous road to go down because it's an echo chamber, you know. So like this could all just be inside my phone, and none of this could apply to real life. Which, of course, I don't want to say that there's no people that are interested in art. Of course, there's people that are interested in art, but I feel like nowadays it falls under umbrellas. Like the people who are interested in art is not the general public, and I think that is very sad because art is everywhere, and it is so important to human evolution, to human history, that it's shocking to me that we're leaving it so aside. And I'm not talking about like specifically like paintings or stuff like that. I'm talking about art in general, like books, paintings, movies, music, shows, everything. And yeah, it was shocking because I saw that people on TikTok, which I would assume that people who listen to Ethel Cain like read her lyrics and like understand her music and try to like sort of like immerse themselves into it, because that is essentially what her music is. It's a story. It's a way to convey a beautiful, beautiful way to convey a story. A deeply thought out way to convey a story, and it's amazing and it's wonderful. And the lyrics are so important to it because her way of writing is so beautiful. The way of conveying thoughts and laying out like metaphors and just the words she uses, the vocabulary, the comparisons, the inspiration she takes from, it's so deeply beautiful. And imagine my surprise when I started seeing people online go that. I mean, I think I don't know if it started as a joke, but there's some people like that were being dead ass about it. That were talking about how now that she's like releasing new merch and stuff like that. Oh my god, guys, how am I supposed to wear the merch? She has an album called Inbred and Perverts. Her new album is gonna be called Pervert. That is so like, how am I gonna wear her merch? How am I gonna defend her? And that was so shocking to me because I was like, even with an artist as Ethel Cain, who I would assume her fan base appreciates art and takes the time of day to like immerse themselves into it and get involved with it, like the whole spectrum of artistic expression. Even then, there are people who just don't listen, who don't try to understand, who don't listen to the lyrics, who don't like participate in the whole like ritual that is listening, or like a ritual, or the whole like experience of. I'm using Ethel Cain as an example because it is so deeply important to her music and to her album to actually sit there and listen to it and read the lyrics. I fell in love with Preacher's Daughter when I sat down and I read that fucking album like a book while listening to it, of course. It is gorgeous and it's beautiful, and I've never seen an album so well crafted. I mean, yes, I've seen albums well crafted, but conceptually. I mean, also, I think the other one that I can think of that is crafted just as beautifully and just as thought out and just as conceptually like well done is El Mal Querer by Rosalia. Like that album is insane. It's also a conceptual album. And it's also telling you a story, each song being a chapter. And in the same way as Ethel Cain utilizes every single aspect of in her hand, in her power to immerse yourself in that story and to involve you with the characters. Because like the samples she uses, the sound effects, the music, the vocals, the lyricism, it's so hauntingly beautiful, and it's so immersive. So it was so shocking to me when I started seeing that there's still people who don't try, you know, Because at the end of the day, it's you're not trying. Because like, come on, it's like no wonder there's like a insane lack of media literacy. You guys are not even trying to listen to songs that you listen to on the daily. Like, then what? They're like, there's what it's so hopeless. Like, it leaves me just pondering what if this is like actuality and how people are behaving now and being so indifferent towards art and towards any form of artistic expression. It just it makes me sad. It makes me wonder what will be of art in the future. Because I can't live in a world where I see it die. It's not something I can stand idly by and watch. Because I want to make art in the future. I want to be a director. And I want to, among other things, I want to convey stories. I want to make art and I want people to interpret it and I want to understand it. I want to consume art. I want to be involved. I want to see new artists, new perspectives, fresh new ideas. And I feel like we're going down this road where it's just people are not trying to understand. And I can't blame anybody else but themselves. Because, I mean, really, you can't force somebody to, like, partake in it. You can't force somebody to, like, listen to a song and like it. Of course, art is subjective. And you can't force somebody to like art. And I understand that. But I think it is so sad and it's so profoundly tragic that just seeing people who are not interested in art, not because they don't like it or just because it's not for them, but because they're just not, like, they don't care, because they don't care. That's what, like, it's boiling down to. Because if it were that you tried to understand art and you tried to involve yourself in it, because the thing about art is that art is not just one thing. Art is it's multidimensional, it's multicolor, it's there's something for everybody everywhere. You can't just So it's hard to say that it's not for you, because what do you mean it's not for you? I mean, maybe Ethel Cain is not for you. Maybe fucking, let's say, I don't know, fucking David Lynch is not for you. Maybe like that's not your favorite director, or maybe cinema is not the thing for you. Maybe you like more books, maybe you like more music. But there is something for everybody, and it kills me to see that people just don't care and they don't try to involve themselves in it and they don't try to understand it. Because living a life where, well, you only live once, and living a life where something as rich and beautiful as art is present in the world and you don't try to reach out to grab it and try to understand it and feel it, it kills me. Because there's nothing as fulfilling and as beautiful as seeing yourself reflected in somebody else's art, and even in your own hand trying to express yourself in your art and trying to reach other people through your art. There's nothing as fulfilling, as beautiful as that, and nothing as human. It is human to the utmost extent. So, it's like, at least try to get involved with it. I really can't encourage you enough to try. Yeah. And it was just shocking to see how, if they're not listening to the lyrics of the music that they listen to, because also, let me clear up the Ethel Cain thing. I'm saying that the fact of them being shocked that it's as perverts or inbred is not the thing that is like, it's like what this entails. Like, Ethel Cain's music is heavy. It's a heavy, like, themed music. The word pervert and inbred are the least of the least of the least. Her music, like even her more popular songs, they deal with death, addiction, addiction, prostitution, sexual assault, child abuse. The last two combined, and cannibalism, like murder, kidnapping. It's heavy themed music. It's heavy themed because it's a heavy story. It's a tragic story. It's dark, and that's what she does. And saying that, like, you're shocked that this album is called this or that, it's just, what you're really saying is that you're not listening to her music. Cause, cause, okay, so her album is called Perverts. So what? Do you think she's like? Do you think she's on the downloads, fucking cannibalizing people because she talks about it in a song? Like, is that what you mean? Because if it's not that, then it's just that you're not listening to the music and you're not understanding the themes and you're not trying to understand the themes. And it's shocking to me. It's shocking to me that what I'm saying is somebody as artistically inclined as Ethel Cain and whose music has so many dimensions to be enjoyed from, you still like you're still taking it at face value and you're still being superficial about it and not even doing the bare minimum of reading the lyrics. Because I know her lyrics are hard to understand, like when you're listening, but like, come on, they're right there on Spotify. They're in your face, and Google is free. So it's just very baffling to me, and it's what I said. It makes me lose hope in our future and how art is going to be perceived by the masses. Because I'm talking about the general public, like I said. It's not. Of course, there's people who enjoy art, like myself, and there's cinephiles. There's like people who love writing their poetry and people who love books and stuff. But unfortunately, that falls under an umbrella. That is not the general public. That is not what the general public likes or wants to see. And it's so crazy to me because art has such a deep like evolutionary history of like we've come so far from where we once started and we keep evolving, and there's so many things that it has to offer for people, and there's so many ways you can admire and look at it, and just it gives endless thoughts, it gives endless things to talk about, and you still don't care about it. I just wanted to voice out my concerns and my sadness towards this, because what the hell. Yeah, I feel like it's this is all my own theory. This is based on nothing except me theorizing in my head. I think also like this lack of like media literacy and trying to rationalize like what you see and trying to critically like reflect on it. I think part of like what is making people stray away from that is, I mean, the rise of like the short form content such as TikTok and Reels and stuff like that. Because I feel like before people were getting their source of entertainment from like movies and TV shows and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, they have something like culturally like that they can offer you, and they can. And you know that there's some things to be taken away from every single movie and everything, and just in general, just in self movies and shows, it's an art. It's an art form. So we've gone from consuming this beautiful art form as an entertainment, which is also a form of entertainment, to just replacing it with watching people do their skincare on TikTok. It's and since people are like, oh, that was entertainment, this is entertainment, I'm getting the same response from these two, which I mean is kind of true, but like it's so devoid of like substance, substance. It needs. And I'm not saying that there's like all TikToks are fucking stupid and boring. No, no. I personally don't enjoy the TikTok medium because I don't like the short form content. I don't know how I can shape myself around it, and I don't feel like it allows me to express myself in the way that I want to. That's why I prefer YouTube. However, there's still some creators like on TikTok and Reels and everything that they're so artistically inclined, and that medium works for them. And I find that beautiful, and I find that they're doing a great job and trying to bring art for the masses and trying to get the general public more interested in art. For example, well, this is a little bit more. Well, yeah, like Brittany Broski. I don't watch her TikTok that much, but her YouTube, she has like 3 videos talking about art history. I feel like that's so great. And her podcast, she's talked about Ethel Cain on her podcast countless times. Also on my credit. And history and just art history and in general, and art is so inherently human and beautiful, and it's, it gives me hope because like there's these people who understand what I mean, and there are people that who are involved in the influencer like world, in the social media world. So not all hope is lost, but then again, that does fall into the like subcategories and the subgroups and the for whatever fucking the umbrella. Those are people who care about the art, you know. And the people who watch them are, I guess, it's also the people who care about the art. But the general public, I don't think they really care, or at least that's the impression that I'm getting. You know, and it's disappointing. And also, I don't want you guys to take this what I'm saying right now at face value, or to like get mad at me for the things that I'm saying. These are all my points of view, and just as any other human, I am subject to change. And if I find that somebody has an argument that convinces me otherwise, then I will be convinced otherwise. Like, I am completely open to to talking about this, discussing this, and finding new points of view and considering things that I hadn't considered before. That's what being like. That's what learning and evolving is all about. That's what growing up is: maturing and realizing that there is more to this world than what you already know. So yeah, I'm probably missing some points because I'm exhausted from recording this once before. But yeah, I just oh, actually, let me say one more thing now that I'm talking about movies. I also feel like social media and everything has accustomed people to taking things at face value and taking exactly what they see as how it is, and sort of like dumbing down and not creating more critical thinking. Because we see it all the time when people like online share their opinions and their points of views, and people just go, they stick with it and they don't really reflect on it, and they just like spit it out and repeat the same thing that they heard online without actually like thinking about it. And I think that's become really normalized, and I myself seem like I'm a victim of this as well. And I feel like this is like bleeding out into other like aspects of our world. And for example, in like movies, with I Saw the TV Glow, people were not understanding the movie, and that is a movie that you kind of have to have the queer experience to understand, because it is so personal, it is so intimate, it's a very intimate movie, and it is so geared towards queer people. So you at least have to experience that, or at least have empathy or understanding for people who have experienced that. uh, but just even the people who were queer, and or the people who watched it and were like, this movie's fucking bullshit, like, oh, you guys are saying this is like a great representation of trans, like, or trans representation in the media, but like they couldn't even say the word trans in the movie, so like it's fucking bullshit. And it's like, it's so much more than that. It is so much more than that. You're not thinking about it, you're not reflecting. Of course the fucking movie, it's all a metaphor, it's all very abstract. It's a beautiful and interesting and surreal way of representing what growing up as a queer person is, and the anguish that it causes, and the fear, and the beautiful parts of it, the awakening of becoming somebody who is your true self, but the fear of leaving behind that person who you were before and that people know. It's a very beautiful representation of it, and it kills me that people just don't try to understand it. And we're seeing a lot of with cinema, where people, when it comes to a movie that they don't understand, they just call it off as stupid or pretentious sometimes. And I feel like it's so much more than that. Art has never just been like about you understand it or you don't. You know, it's like it's supposed to make you think. Like we've seen it with Marcel Duchamp, with Dadaism also, like the urinal being the fountain. Like itself, the urinal itself is not a piece of art. That is a urinal, but it's what you make of it and what you think of it and the reaction you can use that to cause on people that make it a piece of art. Marcel Duchamp was like recognized for that. Was People fucking hated that, but what makes it such an interesting piece of like art is that people hated it. It caused a reaction in people. It caused them to think, to analyze, why is this considered art? And I feel like that, and like that internal monologue, that dialogue, even with other people, that discussion of considering things through an artistic lens and an artistic nature, and reflecting on them and thinking, why is this like this? I didn't like this. Why don't I like this? That is such a thing that we're losing. We're losing it completely. And I feel like we need to just consider the broad spectrum of what art can be and what it entails, and just stop being so close-minded to things that we don't understand or we don't like at first, for example. because for example, I also saw it with Kinds of Kindness, which Jorgos Lanthimos itself is a fucking ride. But people were saying that that movie was pretentious. They didn't understand that it was stupid and pretentious. And I get it if you don't like it. Of course, first and foremost, art is subjective. But saying that it's pretentious because you didn't understand it, or that it's devoid of meaning or something like that, I feel like it's stupid to say that. Because even if the movie has no meaning and it's just being weird for the sake of being weird, that in itself has a merit, because it is, like Marcel Duchamp, causing a reaction on people. And I like that. I like that it makes you think. I like that it makes you reflect. And even if it goes nowhere, even if it has no real meaning, it still makes you think, and that is fun. Trying to understand it and trying to put a meaning to it, trying to find your own words to give it a meaning, is very special. And I think that is a quality of art that is not that is taken for granted nowadays, and it's not considered once discussing what people like or what they understand and what they don't like and stuff like that. I think it's like a sort of like a lost a lost I'm saying the word art so much, but a lost like art, so I guess. But then again, that is just what I've seen in the echo chamber that is my For You page and my Explore page and all of those things. I can't say for certain that that's how everybody feels, because I am merely a guy with one brain and I do not know how people feel. But it's just the image that I'm getting reflected back onto me. Like, that's what I see that is going on. That's what I feel like is going on. And just wanted to voice my concerns and hopefully maybe cause some discourse and some, like, maybe some people will agree with me. Some, if they don't agree with me, some people don't agree with me. That's fine. That's completely fine. These are all just my opinions, and I would actually encourage you to go and tell me what you don't agree with, and maybe I'll agree with you. You know, like, let's creating a conversation. Yeah. So yeah, I hope this video you enjoyed it. If you watch this, because I don't think much people are gonna watch this, because it's just me sitting here talking about things that probably I only care about. Uh, But yeah, if you agree with something, or if you have a point of view that I didn't consider or something like that, please comment down below if you care about it and if you want to, talk about it. Because I like I like seeing new perspectives. And even though if you still, like, even if I'm not gonna agree with you, you should still comment, because I still like seeing other people's perspectives on points that I don't agree with. It's interesting to see why they think that. And I'm also not gonna say that you're wrong or right, like, about, like, we each have our own opinions. So yeah, mm, I encourage disagreement. I encourage agreement. I encourage you guys to comment and let me know what you think, and maybe bring something to the table that I missed on, or because I'm sure there's a lot of time that a shit ton of stuff that I missed on, or stuff that I haven't touched or that I didn't consider even. So yeah, thank you if you watch this. Bye bye.